Hey there, Instagram. Hey there, Facebook. It's so good to be here with you, peeps. I'm Donna Hoffman. They call me the interior design advocate because not only do I run a really busy, award-winning interior design company here in the Philadelphia region of the United States, but I'm also a design coach, and I coach women just like you who are working on your home, not necessarily getting the results you want, and I put an end to that. And we get you empowered and in the driver's seat and off and running to get those gorgeous results that I know you want and that we so want for you. The way your home looks and feels absolutely affects the way you feel in your skin every single day as you get out of bed in the morning. So a couple of exciting things that we're doing here with you in this Facebook Live. We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. East Coast time. And after I teach a little mini lesson, then I take your questions. Well, I'll be taking your questions about some facelift moves you might be considering for one of the rooms in your home, maybe a room that you're really struggling with, which leads me to our topic and our special announcement. The topic today is about small but wise and meaningful changes that you can make to your decor to get a big, wonderful rush at the end of the day. And rather than giving you those specific changes, I'm going to give you something that's going to really empower your thinking and change your thinking on that score. And I'll answer your questions specific to your project, provided that I don't have to look at a picture to be able to answer you well. And I also want to make the announcement that Black Friday comes early here at the Interior Design Advocate, and we are offering a special promotion on one of our favorite online courses. It's called Design CPR, Creating Perfect Rooms. It's all about how to facelift a space. And already getting thumbs up and hearts on that one. How to facelift a room in 30 days or less. In fact, you can get results in 2 weeks or less, and depending upon what you do with the formulas I map out, you can start to see immediate results in as little as a few hours of your time. It's an amazing course. You can save about 60% off the regular purchase price with the special link that we have there. And I'll tell you more about what's in that product in a little bit because it is a labor of love, that course. So first and foremost, let's get into the 4 M's. What are the 4 M's when it comes to small but meaningful and impactful changes that you can make in your home that will really start to turn the needle, push the needle, get the needle moving so you start having that home that you love or love more now than you did yesterday and the day before that. You know, it's so easy in interior design to get overwhelmed. You look around your home, and I don't care how big your home is, I don't care what your square footage is, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And the more overwhelmed you become, the more you start to grind down to a halt, right? So here are the 4 M's that I'd love for you to use to help guide your thinking on what can you do, what can you accomplish and create in your home next. M number 1 is, what can I do in a room? And I want you to think of one room, not many. One room, pick it. What can I do in this room that will be meaningful to me? That will really change the way I feel in this room. If you are somebody who's been following me at all, chances are the way your home looks and feels really impacts the way you feel in your skin. And chances are you are what I would call a design sensitive, someone who's really sensitive to your surroundings. Being in a room that doesn't feel good to you literally can make you feel on edge or crabby or sad or frustrated, whereas being in a room in your home that makes you feel great because you love the way it looks, the aesthetic just fits you so well, those are the rooms that kind of put a pep in your step, make you feel wonderful, right? So if that resonates with you, you are a design sensitive, which doesn't surprise me. I'm one too, and that's why a lot of the women that I teach and coach tend to be design sensitives as well. So when I say the first M to consider in a design project, meaningful. What kind of meaningful change could I make in this space that will really impact the way I feel in this space? Is it about changing up some lighting, changing up some color, really drilling down on what isn't working for you on that space so you can start to think about the meaningful changes, not the millions of changes. That's not an M in this discussion, but what meaningful changes. Next, measurable. It's very hard to jump into a design project when you're just kind of unfocused and you're spitting a little bit of energy in every direction, a little bit in this room, a little bit in that room, a little bit in this room. No. What can you do that will be measurable in a room? Something that will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because it's that measurable goal in design, just like the measurable goal in life, that keeps putting a little more wind beneath your wings, right? That gets your sailboat moving forward. So measurable goals in design means it has a start date, a mid date, and an end date. So I can actually look back and say, wow, look at what I just accomplished. So what meaningful change can I make? What measurable change can I make? Next is manageable. It's got to be manageable. I know if you're like most design lovers, you're thinking, oh, that living room's driving me crazy. Let's just, start from scratch and just let's add a whole new wing, right? Well, rather than having to go all or nothing, get rid of that all or nothing mentality. It's like saying, unless I'm a size 2, I can't dress in a great outfit and feel great and look beautiful and go to a party. Meh, what is that all about? Or unless I am 27 with, not a crease on my face, I can't feel good getting all, pizzazzed up and going out to dinner with my my hubster or my significant other. Meh, let's throw that out. So get rid of that all or nothing thinking in life for sure, but definitely in design. So you want to think about, what is a manageable change I can make in this room? Yeah, maybe the budget or your energy level will not sustain a major redo of a room. That's okay. Break it down, break it into phases. Maybe you break the project in half. Maybe you break the project into thirds. Maybe you take just a little teeny bite off because you want to make it manageable. And by putting it into phases and making it manageable, then you can add another step and another step. And before you know it, you have some measurable change in that room, which is really starting to take off, whether it's your kitchen, your home office, some space where you're spending a lot of time. And then the last M, and so pretty soon I'll be taking your project questions. If you have a question about a room that you're struggling with and some quick moves that you can do to help enhance it, we'll be talking about that. But the last M, motivating. What project can you do in your home that will motivate you? Let's face it, if you've got that giant pile of laundry that looks like it'll take forever and a half to fold, you find a lot of ways to procrastinate around it. If you have a project that just seems so big and so daunting, very easy to kind of keep backing away from it, I should say, and you keep putting it on the back burner and putting it on the back burner. So instead, when you go with the 4 M's approach, you want to think about, well, what would motivate me? What's a small enough chunk that I could bite off that I would find motivating? And you see how these 4 M's start to feed into one another, right? If it's motivating, you'll get into action, and you'll make it something that's manageable. And once you're in that forward-moving velocity, then you start to see measurable changes, and it starts to have a meaningful effect on the way you feel in your home. So it's not about all or nothing in design. It's how can I keep pushing the rock forward? Because if you're a design sensitive, the way your home looks and feels absolutely affects the way you feel every day in your skin when you wake up in the morning or when you come home from a long day out in the world. So if you have a question about a project you're working on and you'd like to know what can I do that might be a smaller, more impactful change without having to throw the baby out with the bathwater, without having to start from scratch, without having to really press the bank or my budget or really press my time, feel free to type in a question that you have about one of your rooms that you're struggling with. And I do want to just tell you, as I promised at the beginning of this Facebook Live, I want to tell you a little bit more about our Black Friday promotion on one of our labor of love favorite courses here that I created, and it's called Design CPR, Creating Perfect Rooms, How to Facelift a Space in 30 Days or Less. We have put a special Black Friday promotion on that, a promotional price of $169. The reg price is more than double that. So let me tell you what it includes. The first module alone is this deep, gorgeous dive into accessorizing the way a $200 or $300 an hour designer would to make gorgeous rooms spring to life. It's amazing. People are amazed at what I show them how to do with just that one module. From there, we dive into the 3-step room perfecting formula where you can work with what you own or add new, your choice, because remember, the whole point is a totally facelifted space in 30 days or 2 weeks or a few hours. You decide how ambitious you want to be with budget and your time input, but you definitely can plan on results in 30 days or less. So then from there, we look at what other steps and flourishes do we designers do to quickly facelift a space, how to pick out perfect wall color and how to determine if your wall color is backfiring right now. as well as things that you can do with your furniture arrangement, using what you already own to completely facelift, shore up, and gorgeousify a room that you have. So not only does design CPR, Creating Perfect Rooms, come with this really easy to take in video series, but also there are some great bonuses. There's a private Facebook group, so you can post pictures of your rooms with your questions and your victories, and people in the whole community, as well as Katie and I, where we can chime in with answers for you as well. There's also a couple of other bonuses. I'm just going to pop my glasses on. I should know this by now. There's the Perfect Lamps and Light Fixtures Cheater Guide. No more incorrect choices for lamps and light fixtures. Something you won't see on the website description about this, there are now 2 reusable shopping coupons at some of my favorite online retailers. There's also a wonderful accessory handbook with over 100 different resources for accessories to open a whole new world for you in accessories for online and manufacturer and store. There's also a project scheduler, a project planner, and a project calculator, and something else that you won't see on the website description if you go to look at the website. There's also another bonus we have for you there called the Perfect Paint and Color Palette Cheater Guide. There are 12 great curated palettes so that as you're doing your facelift in a room, you can quickly see, oh gosh, I do need to add some pillows, or gee, I do want to do something different with my accessories. What can I add to this existing color palette to add some great punch and sparkle? Alrighty, so Design CPR, Creating Perfect Rooms, is all about quick facelift moves that we in the professional design company here in my company that we use when a client comes to us and says, yeah, Donna and team, we want to do these 3 rooms full out, but that room, we just need to do a quick, low cost, but fabulous looking facelift. This is the process that we use, and it works. In fact, a lot of my students who have taken our first signature course have also taken this course, and they're loving it as well. So if you have a question about a room that is kind of baffling you and you don't want to do a total redo and you want to do a facelift move on it, feel free to put a question in. I'm glad to take questions. In fact, I think I see, is that a comment or a question? Here we go. We have our first question coming in from Darlene. Darlene says, I have a foyer that's a little wider than the hallway. It's a little wider than the hallway it leads into. Wanted to put matching lights, but they don't exactly line up. Would it be okay? Should I have a longer one in the foyer and a shorter one in the hall? All right, Darlene, remember I said I really need to see a picture to be able to understand certain questions? You got to ask me a question where I don't have to see a picture. That's a pretty specific visual you're painting here, and I think to answer you well, Darlene, I know I don't want to frustrate you, but I want to give you great information always. I need to see a picture of what you're talking about. You've got a foyer that's wider than the hallway. You want to put I don't know how tall your ceilings are. I don't know if you're talking about semi-flush or flush mount. So here's the story. Okay, I'm going to give you an analogy. I'm working on a home right now. We've got one really cool set of fixtures. We didn't do one single fixture in this spiral staircase. We did a couple of hanging fixtures at different heights. And then beyond this spiral staircase, there's a long, kind of like a back hallway, it's kind of called a gallery. And there's a very different light fixture that repeats itself along that gallery, and that is, that's a semi-flush. So what I would say to you, Darlene, is decide where your focal point is. Again, the ceilings are 8 feet. Okay, your ceilings are 8 feet, Darlene. You don't have a lot of room. You're looking at semi-flush. You got to stay nice and tight to that ceiling, okay? So if you have a foyer that's its own defined thing, you can absolutely have a different, more important looking fixture, and then the other fixtures that go down deeper through the hall, those can absolutely be something different, but they can kind of speak to each other in terms of, you don't want matching, but they want to be in simpatico, okay? They want to marry well. So hopefully that answers you well there, okay? Very nice question though, Darlene, and thank you for asking. All right, Mary is saying, hi Donna, I just bought a house and I'm starting with the living room. just finished the Decorating Genius System class with you. Perfect timing. I'm so glad. I hear that all the time, Mary. It's so funny how serendipity happens in life. Can you weigh in on my proposed furniture layout? I'm thinking about a sectional that faces my fireplace with a cocktail ottoman. All right. Okay, it's a long question. Okay. I'm thinking about a sectional that faces my fireplace with a cocktail ottoman and an upholstered chair next to the fireplace. I don't have problems with any of this yet. The room is small. I might have a problem with a sectional in a small room. And there is a 7-foot window on one wall. Nice. Kitchen peninsula and doorway on another wall. This is a really descriptive question. And then the entryway from the front hallway is on the third wall. So I need travel room on all sides. Yes, you do. All right, Mary, so here's the story. You are in Decorating Genius System. You're one of our students. So you have access, Mary, as one of our students in our courses, you have access to a private Facebook group where you can post pictures. Mary, you need to show me your pictures. And in Decorating Genius System, I show you how to do your 8-room views. So post those and post your drawn plan, okay, so I can really weigh in. But I'm going to use this as a teachable moment for you now, knowing that you're going to post your pictures for me. And the reason I'm saying that Mary has to post pictures is that, you know, pantomime design doesn't work. Design is a very visual sport, right? It's got to look gorgeous, it's got to fit, and it's got to function. That is a measured thing. So just sort of winging it doesn't work in design. And if you are winging it in design, that's why your Pinterest boards look one way and your home looks another way. You're doing trial and error decorating. That doesn't work. So Mary, you have access to my design brain with pictures, so take advantage of it, post those pictures. But here's what I'm going to tell you. When you have open concept living or a small space that has a lot of entry and exit points to it, those rooms are actually smaller than you even realize because you do have to preserve your pass-through space and pass around your foot traffic space. One of the ways to control that, everybody, is by being careful about the types of colors you broadcast on that big sectional sofa that Mary wants to do. Mary, if you do a dark charcoal gray in a small space with a giant sofa, you're going to shrink that space even more. However, if you do a softer, lighter, receding color on that big piece of upholstery, you're going to do what? You're going to make it look a little bit larger, okay? Now, that said, architecture always wins, you guys. You cannot beat architecture. You can twist architecture. You can cajole architecture through design. You can use design things, flourishes, I should say, and strategies to cheat architecture and make it seem like something is larger than it is, make it feel like a wall is pushing away, make it feel like a ceiling is lifting, yes. But at the end of the day, if you put furniture that is so oversized into a room by saying, hey, nuts to you, architecture, architecture has the last laugh, and it says, no, I don't think so. Nuts to you. Architecture always wins. So you do not want to over proportion your furniture to the size of the room. It may mean you have to give up your dream idea about a room. You may have to give up the number of seating options, or I should say the number of people you can seat in a room. Better that, and to make a gorgeous room that feels great and functions well and breathes well, Mary, bring in additional seating if you need to at a big party, right, or at Thanksgiving. So I want to see a picture from you, Mary. I love that you're thinking strategically. I love that you're thinking about what is my travel space and my pass-through space around things. I love that you have a 7-foot window there, Mary, so that automatically opens that room. And if budget allows, if you can do window drapery that is in a similar color and or color value to your wall color, Mary, you will make that window wall feel even further away and increase that sense of view, which will only make your room feel bigger, okay? So maybe some of your budget dollars should be going toward, you know, what's the window covering, even if it means maybe you have to value engineer and go downstairs a little bit on some of your price points and therefore purchasing quality as well as price points drop, then maybe you want to cut back on some of your furniture budget so that you can put a little bit more into your window treatment budget to really maximize the overall sense of spaciousness in the room, okay? The last thing I would say to you, Mary, about purchasing a sectional, or anyone who wants to purchase a sectional, if my niece Stacy is watching, Stacy, be careful about purchasing that sectional for your new apartment. Here's what I'm going to say. If you are purchasing a sectional, do it in a home where you think, hey, baby, I'm staying for at least 10 years. Sectional sofas are one of the hardest sofas to move into that next space. Why? Because as you look at a sectional sofa, it's either left facing if it's an L, right, or it's right facing. Well, it could be that very often the home that you're in right now needs a left facing sofa sectional, but the new home you move into will need a right facing sectional. You don't have that problem with a sofa and 2 chairs. But sectionals are very, very space specific. They do not tend to move well. Oh, I'll just stick it in my basement, you think, if we're going to upsize into a bigger home. Yes and no. Sectional sofas, directional orientation is dictated by the entry and exit points and the entry point into that seating zone, which is driven by the architecture of a specific space. So, Mary, I bless you on that sectional, provided that space-wise, it's going to work with your architecture and that it's something, you plan to stay in your current residence for a while. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. Any other questions, feel free to pop them in there if you've got a question confounding you in one of your rooms that you're working on. Rosemary Dixon is saying, freestanding fireplace in the middle of living room. Rosemary, that does not seem like a question to me. That seems like a comment. Am I missing something? Did Rosemary ask a question? All right, Rosemary, I don't know what you're saying. So light bulbs and candy. I'm just going to throw some non sequiturs out to you. Rosemary, throw me a question and I'll be happy to answer it. If you have a question, hello to all the waves and things I'm getting on Instagram, and thank you for the hellos and waves I'm getting here on Facebook. We have time for 2 more questions. If you'd like to go ahead and input those, happy to take those while I'm on live. I'll tell you what we're talking about next week. Next week's a goodie. Next week we're talking about how to end design envy. Design envy does not feel good. And I'm going to be talking to you about how to zap it in its tracks and give you a little more freedom as you sail into the holiday season and into the new year, 2019. All right, my dears, if you have a question about a room going once, going twice, going 3 times, I'm happy to take any of your questions about how to do a facelift move or something you're working on in your home right now. I don't see any questions coming in on Facebook. I don't see any more questions coming in on Instagram. So tell you what, we've got a lot more to do before close of business today here at our design studio. So I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to get scooching on our way, Katie and I, so we can finish up what we need to do because we're going to be taking a few days off for Thanksgiving. I got a lot of cooking I have to start doing tonight. And I want to let you know before I sign off, I am wishing you a beautiful Thanksgiving, whether you're celebrating the holiday or not. I hope it's a time of just peace and gratitude for you. I hope you get to spend some time with family, with friends, just recharging and just being aware of every single blessing in your life, the large and the small. And I certainly consider each of you that join us for our Facebook Lives every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I consider you part of the blessing in our life here at the Interior Design Advocate. So big hug to you, big hug to all of you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.